Oh man, oh.
Ready, Samuel?
So welcome back to another episode, and on today's episode we're going to be talking about the long-awaited HIKOKI Track SAW.
We're going to run you through some of the clever features that makes this saw stand out from the crowd. Seen that? The dust bag's got a cap on it, so when you put it away in your box, you don't get dust over it.
What a feature.
Good on it. So as you can see, yeah, this is the new, long-awaited HIKOKI Track SAW. I've only actually had it for a couple of weeks. I've only used it on a couple of different jobs now. So I'm not going to bore you with the technical specifications that you can get from anywhere. I'm going to tell you some of the clever features that I've noticed from using it on a day-to-day basis and the things I like the most. The first noticeable feature for me is the fact that, like I mentioned earlier, it has got a 66mm cut depth, which I think I'm right in saying is unmatched on the market. I don't know any other track saw that I've ever had or ever seen that has got that kind of cut depth. So straight away, it gives you a definite big advantage over some of the other saws that you can get on the market.
So whilst Dave was on about the overall depth of being 66mm, it's important to note, unlike some other brands, instead of winding out a wheel to change the depth of your overall cut, you've got a nice simple button, sleek little design, for ease of use. So for me, certainly speeds up the process, especially when you're cutting 9mm, 18mm, 12mm, you're doing your shaker doors, you want to keep changing it. Just a simple press and go. And for an added feature, it also has a depth lock. So if you want to put it in position, simply twist it to go, and it's not going anywhere. Now I will say, I haven't used that lock, I've just gone on with a button and it hasn't moved for me since. But I like that extra feature.
As another feature that I noticed from using it, is it's got an adjustable height chip guard on the side, so that when you are doing your cuts, you can basically make sure that there's no breakout back towards you and stop things going in your eyes. If, like me, you're absolutely rubbish when it comes to PPE.
So if you just wanted to purchase the HIKOKI Track SAW, it also runs on the other tracks such as Makita and Festool, which means that just because you're replacing the saw, you don't have to replace your rails, which means less cost.
So we're just going to grab a battery now, put it in and run it through some different materials so you can see just how smooth it is and how powerful it is when cutting.
Yes!
We're rolling.
Whoa! Yeah. I think we are. We're rolling.
Good. Test cuts first. And the first material we're doing it in is some nice Edgar laminated chipboard. So it's actually got 12 power settings to adjust on. So for this bit of laminated chipboard, I'm going to run it through at full power and see how we get on. Ay caramba.
I feel like out of the others, this is a tad more heavier.
Definitely heavier.
I feel for a good reason.
Solid on it.
Because it almost feels it's flat to the track, there is no movement. But I suppose you could say that the same with the nail guns. The nail guns are slightly heavier. But again, they just feel a lot more robust. So I like it, I really do like it. So if you want to change it from, we'll just take the bag off for a second. If you want to cut in degrees, I do really like this feature. So when we was talking about robust, extra weight, that when we're moving out, you've got like 2 arms. I like that. It almost feels like it's
got like hydraulic.
It's held on,
hydraulic
there is no
hinges,
movement. That's a big win for me.
It's hinged rather than being a little spinny pin.
Again, this is all new for me because I haven't seen it. Dave's had it for a couple of weeks, tried and tested it, and this is my first impressions of the track saw. And so far, so good.
Now, we all know that track saws can cut through sheeted material like your chipboard and your MDF pretty easy. But now this is something that is a proper test for it. What we've got here is some 40mm thick, solid oak, butcher's block worktop. I'm going to cut it through the cross grain to start with, and then I'm going to cut it along the grain and see how it performs. So I'm going to spin this little wheel on the back of the saw, turn it up to level 12, full chaff, and let's cut this. like it wasn't there. Look at that.
I'm going to be
that
totally
was
honest
no
with you.
resistance on the cut, you know.
I'll be totally honest with you. I didn't expect that to go that quick, and that hasn't been sped up. We've kept
No
it to the real
resistance on the
time.
cut
We've
at
been
all.
honest up front.
What about along the grain? Now that's a test. Barely pushing on the back of it, I just let it do its thing. So now I'm going to run it through along the grain, where if you know what you're talking about, any sort of close grain hardwood like this, like oak, notoriously difficult to cut along the grain. So we're going to run it through and see what this saw makes of it. Let's go. And there we have it.